Okay, so let's start with a line that has a distance of 110. Make sure that you turn your ortho on and that line is going vertical. I'm just going to copy this line over some distances to the left. So I'll choose copy. Select my line, give it a base point, and make sure that you're going to the left. We have an inside diameter, which is 22 divided by 2. So that'll give me the radius of that. Then I'll choose the 38 divided by 2. 45 divided by 2. 50 divided by 2. And finally 75 divided by 2. The 52 dimension I'll come back and I will adjust later. Let's draw a line going right across the top. And then like we did with those other vertical lines, let's copy this line down some distances. So I'll select that line to copy it, give it a base point. I'll come down a distance of 76, then 88, and finally 104. We can put the one on the very bottom one as well, and if I pull down I can type in 110. Okay, so I know that everything on the inside of this line to this first line should not be there. So I'll start trimming there first. So I'm going to trim all of these lines away from here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is start working on the outside. So I'm going to take a look down here at the bottom. And know that this is my outside line and it comes all the way down to here, and then it jogs in, and this is my first diameter, that's 22, but I need it to stop at the one that's at the 38. So I'll trim here, and then I'll finally trim my 38 line, which is the second one. I'm just going to trim it here, here, finally here. Okay, so now that I know that this is the bottom, that's going to allow me to get rid of these lines along here and then trim these lines up. Okay, next, my 22 diameter is here and it comes up until it meets this line here. So that'll allow me to trim everything above that. And I'll trim these lines in to here. So that's my diameter of 22. Then it goes to my diameter of 45. Next it's going to go to my diameter of 50, which is going to be represented at that line. So I'll trim to here. And then I'll trim to here. Okay. So now you see that shape is actually bending up. Let's go ahead and trim this line to that one. I'm going to trim here. Then I'll trim here. This is going to be, oops, I forgot one line to trim there. Let me go ahead and take that off as well. Okay, so this is going to represent a major part of our shape that we're going to create on this one. So I'll highlight this one and go ahead and join it together. Once again, I always check and make sure it says I have one polyline. Let's go ahead and take a look at putting our cutter profile on. I'll start with a vertical line that has a distance of 0.41627. Create a line from this midpoint going 2.70650. Let's use grips. Select your line you just created. Select this grip. Select the spacebar twice or until you see the word rotate on your command line. Choose copy. Type in 30, enter, and then -30, enter. Escape button twice to clear the grips. Let's go ahead and move these using grips as well. So select this line, select this grip, spacebar one time, and then go ahead and click on this endpoint. Remember, to clear the grips, hit the escape button twice. Select this line, select this grip, spacebar one time, and then click on that endpoint. I'll create a construction line that's vertical at this endpoint. Fill it. Check your radius. It's at 0. Then go to multiple. And remember, using the fillet command, you're going to select the lines you want to keep. So I'm going to select this line and this line. I want to keep this side of this line and that line. Erase that middle line there. Next, I'll go ahead and highlight this and join it together. Let's just go ahead and move this shape we created from this midpoint to this endpoint. Next, let's go ahead and create our slot. So I'll create that with a polyline. Click here. I'll go up a distance of 12. Select the word arc. Come to the left a distance of 20. I'll select line. Come down a distance of 12. And then finally choose the arc and close. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our slot in the position that it needs to be in. So I'll go ahead and move. Select my slot I created. I'm going to choose geometric center. Click that geometric center and put it on that endpoint. Let's go ahead and move it down a distance of 47. Okay, next let's go ahead and create the base of this shape. So I'll start with a circle center radius. And the radius is going to be 20. Let's copy this from any base point, but I'm moving it at a distance of 115. I'll create a 2-point circle. Now I'll just use these 2 quadrants. Next, I'll create a line. Remember, you have to use tangent twice when doing this, so I'll go from this tangent to this tangent. I'll use the mirror command to create the others. So I'll go to mirror, select this line, and then I'll just go from these centers to that center. Use mirror one more time. Select the top line and the bottom line, and use this quadrant to that quadrant. I'll go ahead and put a circle with a center diameter right in the middle of here, and that's 22 as the diameter. And let's use our other circles that have a diameter of 14 at the other 2 center points. And I accidentally made that a radius. Okay, so let's clean this up a little bit by trimming. So I'll start trimming join this together. Now it's going to give me 1 polyline and 3 objects was discarded. The 3 circles should be discarded. Okay. Now looking at this shape here, I'll go ahead and put a thread relief on the top of it. So I'm just going to use a regular chamfer. Distance, 1. And also 1 for the second distance. And I'll select these two lines. Let's take a look at this in an isometric view. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to rotate my UCS so that way when I put my helix in, it'll be going along the right direction. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use the X flip. And when I select that, you will see that instantly you can see your UCS here at the bottom will move. I'm just going to point this straight up and do a left click here. Let's go ahead and draw our helix. Our base point, our center point is located here. I'll spin it around to this midpoint or where it's perpendiculars. Either one is the same. I'll zoom in a little closer to show you what I'm actually selecting. And I'll make sure it only selects the midpoint of this line. Okay, it has the same diameter, so I'm just going to hit the enter so it won't spiral out of control. Adjust my turn height to 5. And now I need to give it a distance. I'll come down this direction and make it 22. Let's go ahead and put our UCS back. Now we should be ready to create all of our shapes that we need. Okay, so starting with this shape, let's go ahead and do a revolve on this one. So I'll revolve, select this shape. I'll go from this end point down to this end point. And yes, it is going 360, so that's fine. Next thing I'll do is y'all choose the sweep command. So sweep, select your 2D shape here, and then select your helix. Let's go ahead and subtract that. So subtract, I'll select the shape I want to keep first, then I'm going to select the shape that I want to subtract from it. Next, let's go ahead and use extrude. And we're going to extrude our slot in the middle. And I'm just going to go down a long distance. Let's say make it go down 200. Just embellish it. And then I need this face here to go up through that way. Another command that we probably haven't used, or we may have used a little bit, is we have a press pull option. I'll use press pull. And sometimes that line will get in the way, and if that's the case, I will go ahead and delete that line. So let's go ahead and take this line out of the equation. Then go back to press pull. Select that face, and then I'm going to aim up this direction, 200. Subtract. This is the shape I want to keep. And then this is the shape I want to subtract. Next, let's take a look at this shape. So let's go to extrude. And I'm going to select all 4 of these shapes. Doesn't matter which direction you want it to go in. 16. Choose subtract. Select the big piece first. And then I'll select these 3 cylinders. Okay, so let's take a look at this in shades of gray. Next, I'll switch to rotate gizmo. Stand this shape up. I'm going to look at this from the front view. And then I'm going to move this shape from this center that's located right along here, and I'm going to place it at the center that's located right along the bottom of here. Move. Select this shape. Choose that center. And you can see quadrant is coming up, so I'm just going to force it to go to the center of that shape here. And then I'll shift and right click again and go back to center. And I'll force it to be at this bottom center located here. Union these two together. And then you can take a look all around it. Okay, and I just now realized something. I have my slot located in the wrong area. So let's go ahead and undo backwards. So I'm going to undo the union command. And now I need to rotate this. So I'll select it. I'll select the blue axis. And I need it to rotate 90 degrees. Now I'll go ahead and union this together. Now it should be correct.